Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Overwatch Weekly. Pretty slow week this week. Overwatch League is on its second week of its 2-week hiatus. Obviously, this past weekend we had the Lunatic High Runaway show match and the Overwatch Futures match. But this week, nothing Overwatch League related going on. This week is completely just dead. No news. Nothing. At least nothing yet. Nothing at the moment. So pretty light week. Not that surprising considering things are not really happening right now. But there is some stuff to talk about. So let's jump into those things. And the first thing, of course, is the biggest thing, which is the new experimental mode patch notes. So there are a couple hero changes on here, as well as a couple of bug fixes that I want to bring up. Even though I normally don't, I want to bring up one of these in particular because it has been the biggest pain. So these are the hero changes only in experimental for the moment. Echo's focusing beam range was reduced from 20 meters to 16 meters. Genji's shuriken damage was increased from 28 to 30, and the secondary fire spread was reduced from 12 to 9. And Genji's deflect duration was increased from 1.5 to 2 seconds, and deflect can now be cancelled manually. Hanzo's storm arrows damage was increased from 60 to 70. And Moira's biotic grasp primary fire healing per second was increased from 65 to 70, but the secondary fire damage per second was reduced from 50 to 40. And the bug fix that I wanted to talk about is they fixed the issue with the anniversary loot box screen camera focusing on the anniversary lobby background, resulting in loot box content confusion. That's not experimental. That is just a pure bug fix. And thank you, because it was getting really annoying when it happened. It didn't happen at first when they were talking about this bug, and then it just started happening to me out of nowhere, and it was awful. So these hero changes, I want to touch on each of them a little bit. Echo's focusing beam range reduction, I very much like. I've been playing a ton of Echo recently. I think Echo's a really fun hero, and I think Echo's a really well-made hero and really well-done hero. The beam was something that I felt like, of all of her abilities, it got to the point where it was super easy with her beam to just kind of avoid a fight and to get really far range to be able to melt down barriers or melt down a player who's trying to escape. And it with someone or a hero with that much mobility, it felt very, very powerful at that range. So I like that they scaled it back 4 meters. I don't know if they will ever scale it back distance-wise again. They might scale back damage more. I think that's probably the next step if they still think focusing beam is too strong. But I like this change. I think it makes Echo more killable, because Echo has to be 4 meters closer to you to get the beam onto you. So while the beam is still as strong, she can't do it from as far away, which I like. Genji's changes are interesting. His damage is definitely much more consistent now. Obviously, more damage of the shurikens, general damage, and then also more or less spread with his right click, which I really like. I don't play a lot of Genji. I'm really bad at Genji, which is why I don't play a lot of Genji, but part of why I don't play a lot of Genji is because I have struggled very much with figuring out how best to get his damage in a consistent way. And I've always watched videos on certain heroes, and one of the ones I remember about Genji is, in reality, you kind of, for quick damage, want to do your right click. And I like the idea of changing this. I think it'll be good for fighting against tanks. It's good against when the other team is grouped up and you want to kind of like spread out damage among other players. That's not how you play Genji, obviously. Genji, you're supposed to have a target, and you want to kind of melt down that target, build up your Dragon Blade and then Nano Blade. But I think that the damage changes to the shurikens are going to be good, because Genji's not a great hero right now. He hasn't been in a great place in a while. The changes to deflect are very good as well. Increase the duration, but also give the ability to cancel it, which I think is a very good thing. I think that more abilities need the ability to cancel. The game, to me, is at a point now where canceling is more important, because at the end of the day, I think like the worry with if you cancel an ability is oh, if you cancel the ability, you will get your cooldown quicker, but it also means that you just wasted an ability if you use it and you can't hold on to it, and I have to sit there for 2 seconds with your deflect ready. I like the idea of it being canceled manually. It's just smoother, it makes the game run better, and it makes the game move quicker, which I think is what they have kind of wanted to do, but also they've wanted to slow it down. It's a little weird, but I like these changes to Genji. I don't think they're going to change too much, but I think we could see a little more Genji as stuff starts to change a little bit. Hanzo Storm Arrows change I like because I like playing Hanzo, so I of course like that change. This I believe is just a reversion of a nerf that they did a couple months ago. They're just redoing what they had done, so you know, Hanzo's very up and down. He'll be very good at times, and then he won't be very good, and then he'll be very good, and he's always been in that position ever since I can remember. So this is just Hanzo maybe going back up, but probably not. The Moira changes are the ones that are interesting to me. As you might know, I play a ton of Moira. I'm a support player for the most part, and Moira is one of the heroes that, because I'm a support player, I play a lot of, and I've played more Moira than any other hero, but I digress. This change to Moira is very interesting because her healing was increased, which I think most people would argue that Moira's healing was already her strong suit, and that was what made her really strong, and they bumped it up to 70. Now, I think that was a nerf they did in the past, like in one of the last experimental changes where they dropped it from 70 to 65. That may have only been with the orb, but I think it was with her normal primary fire. So they bumped it back up. And then they dropped her damage per second, which she already had the lowest damage per second in the game. Now it's even lower, which I just think is hilarious, that they dropped it even lower so that it's worse. It's interesting. I don't think it'll deter DPS Moiras. I think it'll just deter, well, I think it'll make DPS Moiras be like, oh, it's taking a lot longer to kill than I remember. So I don't think that's going to change anything. But I think it's an interesting change that they changed the damage per second. What I'm curious about, and I don't know how every mechanic works with Moira, but with the reduced damage and increased healing, obviously you heal more per spray of the primary fire, but by doing less damage, does that also mean that Moira gets fewer healing resources back per second? I would imagine that's how it works. So the damage nerf makes it so that she doesn't get resources back as quickly, but she also heals more. But it's it's an increase of 5 healing per second versus a decrease of 10 damage per second. So I think overall this will end up being a Moira nerf, but I'm not positive. Either way, it's not a huge nerf. It's not really that big of a deal. I don't think this is going to make Moira all of a sudden an unplayable hero. I still think she's going to be very strong. She's still going to do her job the best, which is wide areas of healing with her orb and her spray. So I don't think that's going to change. It'll just be, I think, slightly more difficult, possibly, for the Moira to charge up healing resources. And that's, I think, really where her nerfs need to come, is she needs to get healing resources not as quickly. As much as I play a lot of Moira, and I'm, someone who wants Moira to be a viable hero purely because I don't want to play, or I want to be able to feel like I'm contributing, and I'm not very good at the game, so Moira helps me do that, but at least I admit it myself. I do think she needs a nerf in that department, because I think that's where she's the strongest. So I think this should impact that a little bit, but I don't think it's going to impact it enough to the point where she's unplayable. She's still going to be very good. She's still going to be very strong, so I don't see this changing it too much. These are some interesting changes, though. I don't see why any of them wouldn't go through, but I guess we'll see. There's a couple changes that I'd like to see them kind of change that they've changed in the past. Like, I'd like to see them revert the Reinhardt Shatter nerf, and I'd like to see them change a couple of other things potentially. But these are some decent changes, and I hope we get more balanced changes soon. But we'll see what happens. The next thing I want to talk about is a post from the Overwatch forums from Zach Metcalf, and it is titled 1 Year of Workshop plus Popular Modes. And here, Zach says, "Hi everyone, thank you for 1 year of Workshop. The passion you creators have shown in the past year has been amazing, and we are constantly blown away by the amazing modes coming out every day. We've come a long way since the launch of Workshop. We've added copy-paste for Workshop scripts and custom game settings, dummy bots, variable renaming, autosave, custom strings, Workshop maps, subroutines, flow control, and so much more. And none of this would have been possible without you guys. We're super excited to bring you more and more updates in the future. If you haven't jumped into Workshop yet, this is a perfect time. The community has been creating awesome modes over the past year, and they keep getting better. Here are some of the most popular games currently in Workshop." And there is an image that I will, well, I guess not, it's more of a list, but a list that I will put on the screen so you can see it. But I'll talk about these here in a second. "It's been an incredible experience talking with you creators and being a part of such a great community. Thank you. If you're interested in chatting more about Workshop with other creators, check out the Workshop subforum." And they say, "We can't wait to see what popular modes come out next." So that's where the post is. Workshop is very, very, very fun. I do like some Workshop stuff. I haven't messed around in the Workshop as much as I should. I remember when the Workshop first came out, it was some of the most fun I've ever had playing Overwatch because it was just really dumb modes. The one that stands out to me the most, there was a mode that was press button, switch heroes, and it was the most broken game mode I've ever played because you could cheat death by when you hit 0 hit points. If you clicked a button quick enough, you just change to another hero and you would just never die. So you would just always be on point. And at first, not everybody recognized that. So like I was never dying and I was just changing heroes all the time. And then I think slowly everybody started to realize how the game worked and that you could just cheat death. And the final fight, I think, lasted about 25 minutes. It was on Nepal Shrine, and I think it lasted about 25 minutes before finally the respawns were too long and we managed to win. It was crazy and it was funny and I was laughing the whole time because it was just such a dumb mode, and it was really, really dumb and really, really fun. And I think that is what the Workshop has done the best at. There's a lot of really cool modes out here. Uno is something that I played, and I was like, it's just the card game Uno, but they managed to put it in Overwatch because why not? I haven't played Pictionary, but I've seen it. I haven't played a lot of these ones. I saw Spider Widow on Reddit and Twitter, and that one's horrifying. And if you haven't seen Spider Widow, I really recommend you check that one out. I'd check it out in game because then you get the surprise of seeing it. But if there's anything here that interests you, anything that you look at that you think is somewhat fun looking, check out the codes. Like I said, they're linked obviously on the screen, or the code is on the screen, and you can also look through the link in the description, which will link just to this post by Zach Metcalf. The next thing I want to touch upon briefly is there is an article on the Play Overwatch website, which is an interview with Chu Feng, who is the character concept designer for the Little Red Ashe skin. Now, I'm sure most people out there love this skin. I absolutely adore this skin. It is one of my favorite skins that Overwatch has ever added. I think it's an incredible skin. I think it's hilarious. I think it's really well made. I think it's a great skin. I think the difference between Ashe and Ashe's very like older version, like more mature version of Little Red Riding Hood, and then there's just Bob as the grandma werewolf, is just hilarious to me. Or just, I guess not really a werewolf, just a wolf. And it's just this really funny dichotomy, I suppose, of two very different looks. And it's such a great skin. And if you don't have it, I hope you do get it, because it is by far one of my favorite skins ever. If not my favorite skin of all time. So there's a nice article, like I said, with Chu Feng. I believe that's how you pronounce it. If I mispronounce it, I'm very sorry. Going into all this stuff, but just to give you a little tease, the first opening bit of it is Overwatch concept artist Chu Feng has a knack for envisioning rugged, outdoorsy characters. 4 years ago, when he was an art student with aspirations of becoming a character concept artist, Feng began a personal project depicting a ragtag group of nomadic hunters. The concept displayed careful control of a muted color palette, precise line art, and small details of equipment and improvised technology that hinted at a world beyond the images. Feng was proud of his work, but he never expected what happened next. The Overwatch team found his project and recruited him. Everything in Chu's design seemed to have a purpose and function, says concept artist David Kang, who stumbled across Feng's work on the portfolio website ArtStation. I loved that he had a lot of experience not only in fantasy, but with functional mechanical tech. After a successful series of interviews, Feng left school and joined Blizzard. Now he uses his considerable artistic powers to bring the world of Overwatch to life every day. So, there's more to it, of course, but I just want to give you a little taste of Chu Feng's backstory. And I wanted to shout him out because this is honestly one of the greatest skins they've ever added, and I love it, and it's really, really great. And if you haven't checked it out, or if you don't like it, you need to get on that. And if you don't like it, there's something wrong with you. Final link in the description isn't really so much a story that I am going to talk at length about, but it is a video from the Overwatch YouTube channel. It is a cosplay battle. A bunch of top cosplayers from Australia and New Zealand. This is something that they do every so often. I remember seeing some other ones in the past. There's always some really great cosplays. If you want to check those out, it is the last link in the description, so you can check that out. But that is everything that has really gone on this week. Like I said, not a whole lot has really been happening. There are a couple things that I do want to talk about in future videos, but not right now. I do want to touch a little bit on this hero ban system that we saw in play in the show match between Lunatic High and Runaway, or the former rosters of Lunatic High and Runaway, and the Overwatch Features match. There was a hero pools or hero ban system in play, and I want to make a whole video talking about that, but that will probably be next week when I talk about that. And of course, Friday, you'll get the second part of my power rankings, which is the North America power rankings. So, some stuff going on here, but of course, with everything going on in the world right now, not a lot of stuff is going on the Overwatch front, and that is how things should be. I believe that is the best thing that could be happening right now. So, with all that being said, that is everything I have for you today. If you enjoyed, consider liking and subscribing for more content like this in the future. If you have any thoughts on anything that I talked about today, let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear from you and talk with all of you about anything going on in the world of Overwatch. But that is all. So, hope you all have a wonderful week. Hope you all have a wonderful June, my favorite month of the year, because it's my birthday, but I'm a little selfish. And that's all. So, thank you once again, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.